What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to the Save Continue Newscast. My name is Ryan Robinson. There's Tom Shelby.
Hello.
There's SHINee Howard.
Hi.
Every week we get together with news stories from the previous week that we thought were interesting and wanted to share with you. This week we have stories from the week of February 11th, 2018 through February 17th, 2018. First up, Night Dive.
Yeah, so the Night Dive System Shock reboot that was kickstarted for $1.3 million.
That's a lot of goddamn money.
Is on hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it on hiatus, Tom?
Well, the CEO kind of blames himself. He says that they took some creative liberties. You know, they'd started off just making a remake, visual upgrades, which Night Dive is known to do.
Right.
Night Dive does very well.
Right.
Actually, I really love a lot of their re-releases.
Mm-hmm.
And then started, changing systems and mechanics and things to...
The scope got too big.
Basically, yeah, they were taking creative liberties with it, and they feel that those were the wrong moves to make.
Sure.
So they're not saying that the game is canceled.
It's just never coming out.
I think it'll come out. I think it'll be a while. I actually played the alpha for it and liked it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. It's a shame, and I'm sure a lot of people are pissed off. But Night Dive's a good studio. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments talking about so it's on hiatus for things that we didn't even ask for. And comments.
Look, they just wanted to give you...
That's the risk you take when you crowdfund a project.
Sure. They wanted to
I
give
did not ask for Mighty Number 9, but I got it.
Sure. And you played it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
An exact little bit. What's going on with Matt Bevins?
Yeah, so Matt Bevin, for those that don't know, is the governor of Kentucky. After the Parkland, Florida shooting, he's come out and said that video games are to blame.
Of course.
Sure.
So
It's 1993 all over again.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny.
no,
Well,
not mental health, not gun control.
you think about Columbine, and Doom got blamed for that.
Sure.
I think this is bogus. Obviously, there's many studies disproving this theory, but here it is again. So
It's been a scapegoat for like the past 25 years.
Yeah.
Every time something bad happens, it's easy to blame video games.
Sure.
Because, why not,
I mean, here's the thing, right? I grew up in a house full of guns.
Sure.
I played.
Your dad has a lot of guns.
I played a lot of Doom, and I didn't go hurt anybody.
You're playing a lot of Doom in a house full of guns.
Yeah.
Do you ever turn any of those guns on anyone?
No,
Okay.
be a good fucking parent.
Sure.
Eh.
Yeah, I think that ever since we were kids, that's always been the case. Like, blame the most violent video game out there.
Sure, I mean, it goes back farther than Doom. It's
Sure, Mortal Kombat, things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's always going to be an easy scapegoat for people, especially for people who are detached from that sort of thing.
Well, it's funny because he gives his quote on the whole thing talks about he's built up this video game in his mind. Where he talks about there's games where somebody's on the floor begging for their life, and the more you shoot them, the more points you get. That's almost a direct quote.
That
And
sounds
I'm
like a terrible video
show
game.
me that game.
Sure.
Besides hatred, show me that game. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I don't know.
Points. Where have you been? Do you play video games anymore? I don't know. It's fucking dumb.
That reminds me.
Plus, the guy looks like a fucking dumbass to begin with.
That reminds me of back in about 10 years ago when Jeff Keighley went on Fox News.
Oh yeah.
And they were referring to Mass Effect as a sex and murder simulator.
Mm-hmm. Or
It's
what
not?
was the other one? Fuck, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs got blamed because it teaches kids how to hack.
Sure.
Because that's how you hack.
But I remember Mass Effect.
NCIS is not getting any shit for 2 keyboards, 1 idiot.
Yeah.
I remember.
Or two hits, 1 keyboard.
I remember they were talking about Mass Effect, and it was like, you can go through that game and you can kill and have sex with whoever you want.
You gotta work for that sex,
Sure.
Yep.
like real life.
Sure.
But it was in the news. Thought it was important to bring up.
What's happening over at Sony?
So Sony has handed over PS4 user data to the FBI. Basically, they're searching for a Kansas City man who had planned to travel to Iraq to work with an extremist organization. They found the guy, but I guess one of his relatives was saying that he spent a lot of time on PlayStation Network talking with a bunch of strangers, and this seemed interesting to them. I think we all play with strangers online, but
Sure.
for whatever reason, they wanted his user data. I think the news here is that Sony actually surrendered that data.
Right.
Now they were given a warrant You
Sure.
know, they were going to have to give up that data one way or the other.
Right.
But, you know, anything you put online, it's out there, people, you know.
Right.
So,
Don't join any extremist organizations.
yeah, don't do that either.
Yeah, what's going on with Shadow of the Colossus?
So, the Blue Point remake,
Mm-hmm.
A couple of interesting things have happened. One, I don't know if you guys heard about the whole gold coin thing. They're not really coins, but people are calling them coins. 79 of these. Took people a few days to find them all and figure out what it does. It unlocks the Dorman sword, Sword of Dorman, right? So then, a couple days later, somebody finds a goat. This is not in the original. It's like a cave painting of a goat. And then somebody finds another, and then somebody finds another. So in the first week, I think 3 were found. And they formed an almost perfect acute, or isosceles triangle. And people are like, what do the goats mean? You can't interact with them in any way. People are tweeting Blue Point. I've tweeted Blue Point. And they'll like every tweet about it, but they won't reply. So, like, they know, you know, they've done something.
They knew this would happen.
Anyways, yesterday, somebody found a 4th goat.
Uh-oh, the 4th goat.
And so a 4th goat has been found. If we don't know if there's more or if there's not. This could just be a troll. It could be nothing. It's probably something. If you make an X with the 4 points, the intersection lands at E3 on the map. So a lot of people are speculating that something will happen with Blue Point at E3.
The 4th goat has been found. The 7th seal broken. The apocalypse has begun.
Yeah, so interesting.
The Doomsday
I'm
Clock
excited
is at
about it.
159.59.
I'm
Yeah.
excited about it. And I've seen the goats. I like them.
Yeah, those goats moved up the doomsday clock by 20 minutes. So,
Yeah. So we'll see.
what's happening at Incel, SHINee?
So Incel Gaming, their CEO put out an email telling their employees to review their game, but not telling them that he can dictate what they say. Steam found out about this, and now they are perma-banned from putting any of their games on Steam.
What's the problem? We didn't
It's
tell
like,
them what to say.
They're just reviewing a game. They played it. They liked it. What's going on?
Yeah.
Dumb.
You know, email documentation of this. That's a
Sure.
great idea. That's
Sure.
a great idea.
You know, it's like a part of me feels for them because when you're a small team like that and you don't really know what you're doing, it can be. It's you know,
It's
but
intimidating.
it is dishonest.
Sure.
And yeah,
I feel like this is the time when you definitely don't want to do that. When you're trying to get established as a
Yeah.
reputable company. Now,
I mean, and Steam's at least as far as PC goes, is like it's the monopoly, right? Like that's the marketplace.
Yeah.
You could say good old games or whatever, but you're kidding yourself.
Sure.
And if you're developing games specifically for PC to no longer be able to release on Steam, that's a big deal.
Yeah. What's going on with Yujin Games? Game?
Yujin Systems?
Yujin System. My bad.
UEP systems.
What?
It is a French studio. If you're not familiar with it, they did a
Oui.
lot. They did probably their most popular one in the U.S. is Ruse. They also have like a war game series.
Like Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, I was about to say based on the Matthew Broderick vehicle.
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you like to play
But
a game?
for the last couple months, they haven't been getting paid. They like got together, got a lawyer to talk to their bosses and be like, hey, you have to like legally pay us.
right.
So now they are
Boycott.
on strike.
Yeah.
I think
Wait.
it was like 23 of the employees just didn't show up.
Yeah.
Like the company had to be told that they have to pay their employees?
Yeah.
I heard it wasn't that they were not getting paid. I heard that they were talking about unfair wages. Like most of them were making minimum wage.
That's
A lot of them
yikes.
weren't even making that, and they had to bring in the lawyer to talk about what minimum wage is because they tried doing mediations and
Yeah.
they were told like, oh, it'll be settled, like you'll get like what like you're supposed to get like via your employee contract and everything like that.
Sure.
But it never was like meeting what it was actually supposed to be getting paid. So they tried trying to talk to the company on their own, and then got a lawyer involved, and then they just kept getting brushed off. So now
Shanae, you're
they're on
quiet
strike.
talking to your microphone.
No, I don't want to talk to my microphone.
Okay, well, no one will hear you then.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're on strike right now. I know not like it doesn't really necessarily reach a huge audience, but it does show that like even if you are in a smaller studio, like your voice counts.
Sure.
Does it though?
If you,
I mean, I guess that's kind of
Like, does this affect the rest of the industry really?
it can and in different ways. Other employees that aren't getting treated fairly.
But I mean, here's
Like-
the thing, right? Like we had the whole thing with Crytek not paying their employees, and that's a way bigger.
And they weren't even, and that's
That's
like
a much bigger story, and
and-
we've seen like very few
Yeah.
things come of that.
they weren't getting paid at all actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always feel like with these things, like there is always a possibility of aftershocks reaching other employees in the same field, and maybe emboldening them to stand up for themselves.
Sure.
And at least that's my hope with all of it.
People need to be getting paid for making these goddamn video games.
Yeah.
Look, making video games is hard. Okay, people should get
I
paid
can't
for
do
it.
it.
I can't do it either. But there are a lot of things I can't do.
Like ride a unicycle.
Sure, I can't do that. But if I could, I would expect to be compensated fairly for it.
Yes.
I happened upon this yesterday, and I just thought it was a cool little thing to mention.
What?
Mattel's making a Tomb Raider Barbie.
Oh.
That's rad.
That's actually, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen a video game, I've never seen a video game related Barbie
Right.
or doll of any kind. So I thought that was pretty neat.
There's action figures, and Barbie has done a lot of different jobs.
Like she was a video game designer.
Yes, she was. She
I
also
think she was a doctor once.
And she's also was a web designer at some point, or that might have been Skipper. But like they've given and a lot of those like lines also have like books
Sure.
and like movies to go along.
But
with
she's
it.
no Malibu Stacy.
That she never will be.
Sure.
Yeah,
Look in the tunk.
but yeah, I think it's cool, and
I-
especially like since Lara Croft is strong and also intelligent.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them follow that up with a Goro Barbie.
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
What if they overcorrected and gave you a Shiva Barbie instead?
That's all right.
Shiva is a strong woman.
Sure.
Like, I don't know about.
Evil, but
Sure.
strong.
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a role model she is for human children.
Sure. But anyway, okay, guys, that's the news. My name's Ryan Robinson. That's Tom Shelby.
Goodbye.
That's SHINee Howard.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.